Commander Jasmine Harrison stood at the viewport of the mining vessel Tenacity, watching chunks of ice and rock tumble past in the Kuiper Belt's equivalent of this distant star system. The ship's reinforced hull creaked under the strain of the intense radiation from the nearby pulsar, conditions that would have made most alien vessels turn back hours ago. "Commander," Operations Officer Raj Patel's voice crackled over the comm. "We're picking up an unusual signal. Definitely artificial, but not matching any known human frequencies." Harrison straightened, her eyes narrowing. "First contact situation. Looks that way. Signals coming from what appears to be a damaged vessel, about 300,000 kilometers off our starboard bow." "Plot an intercept course," Harrison ordered, already moving toward the bridge. "And get me Dr. Patel, both of them." Within minutes, the bridge was fully staffed. Dr. Amira Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, and her wife Dr. Kira Patel, their quantum engineer, stood beside Harrison as they approached the alien vessel. The ship was elegant, all sweeping curves and delicate spires, a stark contrast to the utilitarian bulk of the Tenacity. "Beautiful," Amira breathed. "But those spires wouldn't last 10 minutes in an asteroid field." "They're venting atmosphere," Kira noted, pointing to a shimmer in the void. "Their hull must have been compromised by the radiation." Harrison keyed the ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is the commander. We have a potential first contact and rescue situation. Suit up and prepare for emergency protocols." The alien vessel was nearly twice the size of the Tenacity, but scans showed only 6 life signs, all clustered in what appeared to be a shielded central chamber. As they drew closer, a transmission cut through the static. "Unknown vessel, this is First Speaker Ziril of the Confederation ship Eternal Grace. We are in dire need of assistance, but I must warn you, our environmental requirements are extremely specific. Our species cannot survive in anything less than 0.3 atmospheres of pure helium-based atmosphere." Harrison exchanged glances with her crew. Earth's atmosphere would be lethal to these beings. "First Speaker Ziril, this is Commander Harrison of the Earth vessel Tenacity. We understand your situation and are prepared to assist. Our species evolved under very different conditions, but we have experience with varied atmospheric requirements." There was a long pause. "Earth vessel, our database has no record of—" "Wait, you're from the Death Zone." "The what now?" Harrison muttered, before keying the comm again. "We're from Earth, yes. Currently approaching your port airlock. We'll need details on your atmospheric requirements to properly assist." Another pause. "Commander, our sensors must be malfunctioning. They're indicating your vessel is operating in conditions that would be lethal to most known species." "Oh, that." Harrison smiled. "Yeah, we're fine. This is actually pretty mild compared to some of our mining operations. Now, about that rescue." The next few hours were a crash course in xenobiology and cultural exchange. The Confederation crew watched in stunned silence as Harrison's team, wearing what they considered standard environmental suits, worked in conditions that their own sensors classified as absolutely lethal. The humans repaired hull breaches, restored atmospheric containment, and jury-rigged a radiation shield using mining equipment, all while chatting casually about Earth sports and weather. "You mean to tell me," First Speaker Ziril's translated voice wavered with disbelief, "that your species regularly experiences atmospheric electrical discharges? Thunderstorms?" "Sure," Raj replied while welding a support beam. "My daughter loves them. Takes after her mother. They both like to sit on the porch and watch the lightning." "You're young. Deliberately observe atmospheric energy weapons." "They're not weapons," Amira chimed in, "taking readings of the alien atmosphere to ensure proper composition. Just a natural phenomenon. Though I suppose Earth does have quite a few of those that might seem unusual to other species." The repairs took less than 6 hours, a time frame that left the alien crew speechless. As Harrison's team prepared to return to their ship, First Speaker Ziril approached them in the airlock chamber. "Commander Harrison, I must admit something. When we first detected your approach, we were concerned. Your ship's profile suggested primitive design, and your willingness to operate in these conditions seemed reckless. I now understand we were measuring you by entirely inappropriate standards. Harrison smiled behind her helmet visor. No offense taken, first speaker. Though I'm curious. You mentioned something about a death zone. Ah, yes. Zeril's translator rendered what might have been embarrassment. It's a sector of space we declared uninhabitable due to extreme conditions. Your Earth lies at its heart. We never imagined. Well, we never imagined anything could evolve there, let alone achieve spaceflight. Uninhabitable. Harrison laughed. We have vacation spots in worse conditions. Speaking of which, once your ship is fully repaired, would your crew be interested in visiting our mining facility? The view of the pulsar is quite spectacular from the observation deck. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of Raj trying, and failing, to suppress his laughter at the alien's collective expression of shock. As the tenacity disengaged from the eternal grace, Harrison couldn't help but smile. Humanity had just made first contact, and true to form, they'd done it by treating conditions other species considered impossible as just another day at the office. Commander, Raj called out, the Eternal Grace is transmitting data to the Confederation. A lot of data. Well, Harrison settled back in her command chair. I suppose things are about to get interesting. Dr. Amira, please prepare a first contact report. And Kira, better start drafting plans for radiation-shielded visitor quarters. Something tells me we're going to have company soon. In the weeks that followed, the story of the Tenacity's casual rescue operation spread through Confederation space like wildfire. The species that had evolved in what they'd written off as a dead zone hadn't just survived. They'd thrived to the point where they treated lethal conditions as mild inconveniences. The galaxy was about to learn that their definition of impossible needed serious revision. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, Commander Harrison was already planning how to explain Earth's more exciting hobbies to their new alien friends. Extreme sports would have to wait. For now. Grand Counselor Anksvith's crystalline appendages trembled as they reviewed the data for the 12th time. Around the vast chamber of the Galactic Council's emergency session, representatives from 200 species shifted uncomfortably in their environmental bubbles. These readings must be erroneous, Anksvith announced, their translation crystal pulsing with agitation. No carbon-based life form could evolve in such conditions. High Admiral Tekka of the Confederation Defense Fleet stepped forward, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with conviction. The data is accurate, Grand Counselor. Our ship's encounter with the human vessel Tenacity was thoroughly documented. They treated radiation levels that would sterilize most worlds as, and I quote, a bit sunny. The chamber erupted in overlapping translator signals as dozens of species tried to speak at once. In the chaos, Research Director Vox 427, a member of the silicon-based archivists, projected a hologram of Earth. Colleagues, please observe, their mechanical voice cut through the din. This is the human's homeworld. Surface gravity 9.8 meters per second squared. Atmosphere containing reactive oxygen. Temperature variations of over 100 degrees in some regions. Regular tectonic activity. Constant electromagnetic storms. And perhaps most disturbingly, the hologram zoomed in to show a human settlement. They build their cities on top of fault lines and at the feet of active volcanoes. But why? Demanded Representative Illith of the gas giant dwelling Cloudborne. Why would any species choose to remain in such conditions once they achieved spaceflight? A new voice answered. Senior Ambassador Thela Reese, the first human representative to the Council, who had been quietly observing from her standard atmosphere bubble. With respect, Representative Illith, we don't just remain there. We thrive there. Those conditions shaped us into who we are. The chamber fell silent as Reese stood. Unlike most species present, she required no environmental support beyond basic atmosphere and gravity regulation. Her very presence, standing unprotected in conditions that would kill many species present, made her point more effectively than any speech. What my colleagues from the Tenacity demonstrated is not unusual for humans, she continued. We have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Earth's challenges didn't break us. They drove us to innovate, to adapt, to overcome. Those cities built near volcanoes, they harnessed geothermal energy. Those electromagnetic storms, we learned to capture and use that power. But the risks, Enksvith began, are part of life. Reese finished. Every human child learns to swim in that highly corrosive universal solvent you're so worried about. We call it water, and we're mostly made of it. The Council's chief medical officer, Dr. 69, nearly shorted out their hover unit. Your species is composed primarily of corrosive material. Among other things that might surprise you, Reese smiled. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because humanity wants to join the Galactic Council. We have much to offer, and much to learn. High Admiral Tekka's bioluminescence shifted to patterns indicating deep thought. The humans demonstrated remarkable engineering capabilities during the rescue operation. Their solutions were unorthodox but undeniably effective. Unorthodox. Research Director Vox 427 projected another hologram, this one showing the Tenacity's crew repairing the Eternal Grace. They used mining equipment to create an improvised radiation shield. When asked about the safety calculations, their engineer said, and I quote, "It'll probably work. If not, we'll try something else." That's another human saying, Reese explained. If at first you don't succeed, try again. We're very persistent. We've noticed, Enksvith's crystals chimed with what might have been amusement. The question before this council is not just about admission. It's about classification. Humans clearly qualify as a Deathworld species, but our existing categories seem insufficient. If I may, Reese stepped forward. Perhaps the issue isn't with classification, but with perspective. You see your homeworlds as normal and Earth as extreme. We see Earth as home and have learned to adapt to other environments. Different starting points, different solutions, but the same goal, survival and growth. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Finally, Grand Counselor Enksvith raised their primary crystal for attention. Ambassador Reese raises a valid point. Perhaps it is time for the Council to revise its understanding of what is possible. However, there are concerns about safety and compatibility. Already addressed, Reese interrupted, pulling out a datavad. We've drafted comprehensive safety protocols for cross-species interaction. We understand that what's comfortable for us might be dangerous for others. We're quite good at adapting our environments. We've had to be. You anticipated these concerns? Enksvith asked. Of course. Living on Earth taught us to always be prepared. Now shall we discuss how humanity can contribute to the Council? I have some fascinating proposals about joint research projects. There's this lovely little moon in the Arcturus system that we think would make an excellent cross-species research station. The radiation levels are quite moderate, by our standards, of course. As the Council members processed this suggestion, many noted with varying degrees of alarm that Ambassador Reese's definition of moderate radiation levels would require them to completely redesign their shielding technologies. But they also couldn't help noticing that she'd already brought preliminary designs for such modifications. The humans, it seemed, didn't just survive in impossible conditions. They came prepared to help others do the same. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. Would you like me to continue with Part 3, where we can explore the first joint human-alien operations and see how these different approaches to survival play out in a crisis situation? Joint Operations, Crisis at Proxima Station. Chief Engineer Diana Rodriguez stared at the holographic display of Proxima Research Station, her dark eyes reflecting the red warning indicators. Beside her, Station Director Kazar's tentacles writhed with anxiety. An understandable reaction, given that their state-of-the-art facility was currently falling into a star. The stabilizers are completely shot. Diana muttered, more to herself than to the assembled emergency response team. And the radiation shielding won't last more than 6 hours. Impossible to repair, Khazar's translator chirped. Heat levels in those sections are beyond survivable parameters. Diana's lips curved into what her alien colleagues had learned to recognize as a troubling expression, a human smile in the face of impossible odds. Survivable is relative, Director. Lieutenant Park, get me a suit. You can't be serious. Commander Vethra of the Galactic Council Emergency Response Fleet clicked their mandibles in alarm. Those sections are reading at over 800 Kelvin. That's what the suits are for, Lieutenant James Park replied, already heading to the equipment bay. Latest model from Tokyo Electronics, rated for solar flare conditions. What followed was a masterclass in human ingenuity and what the Council species had come to call constructive recklessness. Diana and her team, suited up in what looked to their alien colleagues like portable tanks, ventured into sections of the station that the Council's safety protocols classified as instantly lethal. The trick, Diana's voice crackled over the comm as she manually realigned a fusion conductor, is to work with the heat, not against it. Park, route that plasma leak into the secondary cooling system. That's not in any repair protocol, Vethra objected. Writing new ones as we go, Park responded cheerfully. Sometimes you have to improvise. 4 hours later, Proxima Station's orbit was stabilized. The human repair team emerged from the lethal section sweaty but triumphant, and Station Director Khazar had to create an entirely new classification for emergency procedures. Human Standard. The Academy of Impossibilities. The Galactic Council's Joint Species Training Facility. Unofficially dubbed the Academy of Impossibilities, stood as a testament to the changing relationship between humans and the galactic community. Located on a planet that most species considered marginally habitable, it featured environments ranging from crushing gravity chambers to zero-atmosphere training zones. Director Rashid Karim surveyed the latest batch of students from his office overlooking the main training ground. Below, a young human was teaching a group of Vig's theory how to navigate in Earth-normal gravity using exoskeletons, while nearby, a Confederation engineer was explaining the principles of quantum field manipulation to fascinated human students. Remarkable progress, noted Deputy Director Zilix, their crystalline form shimmering. Though I'm still concerned about the human tendency to experiment. You mean like last week's gravity surfing incident? Rashid chuckled. Innovation often comes from unexpected places. They were using gravitational fluctuations as a recreational activity, and in the process, developed 3 new methods for emergency maneuvering in variable gravity fields, Rashid pointed out. Sometimes the best discoveries come from playing around with what we think we know. The facility had become more than just a training center. It was a laboratory for cross-species innovation. Human adaptability combined with alien technological expertise had led to breakthroughs that neither would have achieved alone. The Nexus Crisis. The Nexus event, as it came to be known, began with a quantum fluctuation at the heart of Council space. A tear in spacetime threatened to expand exponentially, consuming entire star systems. The Council's most advanced ships couldn't get close enough to effect repairs. The gravitational forces and radiation levels were off the charts. Admiral Diana Rodriguez, promoted after the Proxima Station incident, stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Impossible, studying the swirling vortex of the anomaly. Behind her, a joint human-alien crew worked at their stations, each species contributing their unique strengths to what might be the galaxy's last hope. All conventional approaches have failed, Council Scientific Advisor Vox 427 reported. The energy levels are beyond our ability to manage. Conventional is overrated, Diana replied. Lieutenant Park, deploy the solar sail. Dr. Khazar, ready your quantum field generators. We're going to surf the wave. Surf, the quantum destruction event. Vox 427's mechanical voice somehow managed to convey disbelief. Earth's oceans taught us something valuable. Diana explained as her crew prepared for what most species would consider certain death. Sometimes you can't fight the wave. You have to ride it. What followed would be studied in council academies for centuries to come. The impossible, using a combination of human durability, alien quantum technology, and what Diana called good old-fashioned surfing skills, rode the quantum wavefront like a terrestrial surfboard on its tsunami. They converted the destructive energy back in on itself, sealing the rift using its own power. In the aftermath, as the council decorated the crew for their unprecedented courage and innovation, Diana was asked how humans consistently managed to turn seemingly impossible situations to their advantage. "That's simple," she replied. "We never learned that it was impossible. On Earth, the impossible is just something no one's figured out how to do yet." The legacy of humanity's introduction to the galactic community wasn't just about their physical capabilities or their technological innovations. It was about perspective, about teaching the galaxy that impossible was often just a matter of viewpoint. As humans spread throughout council space, they'd brought with them not just their remarkable durability, but their even more remarkable ability to look at deadly situations and ask, what if? And if sometimes that led to new sports involving quantum surfing or recreational void jumping, well, that was just humans being humans. The galaxy would just have to adapt, which, as humanity had taught them, was entirely possible if you put your mind to it. The end.